What's up, family? Tesla returns with a new video in which I attempt to analyze the situation around the Tesla spy video, the KQ, and a few other tickers. I will dissect the current state of the economic calendar, as well as other aspects pertaining to Tesla and the markets. Things to keep an eye out for as the market opens for the day. Let me just make a few brief remarks before I bring up the double this information, before I discuss Tesla's spying video, the QQ, and all these various tickers. Please do not regard what I say as financial advice, as I am not a financial planner. In addition, I would appreciate it if you could click on the link that is provided in the explanation below. You will receive 5 free stocks when you create an account using the link below and deposit $100. A $1,000 deposit will assure you of up to 15 complimentary stocks. And in just 4 days, there will be other products very soon. In any case, as you can see, yesterday saw a very, very good pop for Tesla, followed by a dump. Tesla is attempting to recover today as a result of some encouraging news. Morgan Stanley has reiterated that Tesla may be pumped to $320 a share, which is highly optimistic news. Thus, Tesla is genuinely bouncing back as a result of that once more. Tesla might pump again in place of the 20 EMA break that we did discuss in my video from yesterday, and there was a chance that it would then decline again based on technical indicators. As long as this thing keeps pumping, our goal will be to see how high it can go. After that, we'll monitor the situation. I want to dissect these charts, but first I want to discuss some news. Remind yourself that it is Wednesday, March 27th. There is a dearth of available data. We will be releasing data on crude oil and fluctuations in imports at 10:30 a.m., not to add 11:30 a.m. We have some bill reductions. Thus, the data is quite insignificant. In other market news, all 3 of the indices were cooling off yesterday, but they are currently attempting a small recovery. Additionally, there have been reports of a bridge in Baltimore collapsing as a result of being struck by a big container ship. It is extremely very sorry to hear such news. My sympathies are with everyone who was impacted by this. We'll have to wait and watch how the whole area develops in light of this terrible, depressing stuff. More safety measures could be implemented, better measures could be taken, and my best wishes go out to the remaining missing persons. It's incredibly terrible to learn that so many individuals have passed away, but we still wish everyone the best. HM stock surged by almost 14% following a notable outperformance of earnings projections for the fiscal quarter. For HM, this is wonderful news. There have been additional discussions regarding the significant personnel reductions that various firms will be implementing. The same thing is being said by Canada Goose. It might eliminate almost 70% of its corporate staff. That is also noteworthy news, and there seems to be more room for this to develop across a variety of sectors and businesses. Additionally, there has been reports of Amazon starting to deliver prescription drugs the same day. That's also making news. Thus, at least in the markets, those are the top stories at the moment. Regarding SPY, I would like to draw attention to the fact that we are down to just 2 trading days for the week. Right now, the maximum pain is $520. It is clear that the 1.35 put-to-call ratio is not changing much. We have moreover 2 million puts expiring tomorrow, and somewhat more than or slightly less than 500,000 calls. So let's see if that changes in any way. The put-to-call ratio is really high, so we'll see where it goes from there. Let's talk about some positive news for Tesla in terms of the markets. We have some positive news because Morgan Stanley has been giving Tesla some excellent ratings. Here is where you may view the news. Equity researchers at Morgan Stanley have reaffirmed their overweight rating on Tesla, thus indicating that they have a $320 price objective with an 80% upside potential. This is extremely bullish news. Additionally, you could see that a portion of their explanation for saying this was due to the recent collaboration between Tesla and KTL. They see that as a potent combination to revitalize the US EV market. That's essentially what Adam Jonas was referring to when he discussed these two businesses. Their ability to produce more cheap automobiles will be greatly aided by this alliance, which will be crucial to their expansion and acquisition of superior battery machinery. There has also been a lot of discussion on Tesla's $25,000 car, why this is very, very good news for them, and how it will increase adoption in the United States. Thus, the investment bank essentially restated its $320 overweight recommendation for Tesla, indicating significant growth. At this point, they acknowledge that there may be difficulties with EV demand in the immediate future, but they believe Tesla will succeed in the long run. The news that was released this morning is encouraging for Tesla. Furthermore, there has been discussion on the significant growth in EV sales and prospects. Many studies have indicated that there have been significant developments as of late. For example, Shell has announced that it will sell 1,000 of its retail sites and invest in the construction of additional EV charging stations. Thus, the number of EV stations is increasing significantly so far. In Mexico, EV sales rose by 94% in the preceding year. There's been a lot of discussion regarding growth, and this is some really interesting material as more data indicates that the EV sector is still growing. Long-term benefits will be immense and battery costs are declining as well. It's evident from some fascinating research that Tesla released that the electric vehicle market is still seeing exponential growth. Even though there may be a brief slowdown now, the future is still bright in the long run. Anyway, things are going really well for Tesla right now. You need Tesla to drop 180 and finally the 20 EMA at 178 for us to go bearish. We'll be dropping all the way to roughly 175 if we do lose that. We could even bridge the space beneath. You want to see a break over 182.5 and eventually higher levels, such as 184 if we're positive. As of right now, Tesla is attempting to push for 182.5 due to good news that the company received in the market support for it. Thus, be aware of that as opposition. We enjoy doing out in the morning, so try to find a little more motivation to reach these elevated levels. We might even ascend to 184, 182 to 184, and observe whether we receive a refusal off that level before descending once more, like we did the day before. Watch for the upward movement for the time being, and we'll see where things finishes up going from there. Up there, observe and note any resistance. We could get as high as roughly 187 if we manage to break beyond yesterday's high of 184. Thus, Tesla has some upward potential, but we'll have to wait and see whether we decline further. That's the action that Tesla often takes. As for SPY, it was very crazy. Within this channel, SPY fell all the way to this level, and we approached this trend line quite closely. This was the wise trend line I was referring to down here. I made it clear to everyone that I would quickly cut off communication with them if SPY maintained this sensible trend line. We would be on an upward trend if we maintained this sensible trend line as long as SPY did. We will be testing this very shortly, as I mentioned. Extremely nearly tested the trend line. In actuality, we were only off by a few pence. As you can see, SPY essentially approached testing 58 quite closely. Had we lost this, our outlook would have become negative. We're going to go back to being bullish if we can move past this. What took place today? In order to maintain our bullishness, we are currently attempting to break out of this broad bull flag after we actually pushed back up. We must attempt to breach 522. We will push harder if we break this. You want to see this thing essentially lose 520 in order to be bearish. We're going to be watching the support right here if we lose that. SPY is now attempting to advocate for 522. We'll attempt to reach that altitude. We'll watch to see if the market attempts to make a strong comeback. We are currently trying to get a bounce back up after yesterday's significant dip, which was a large trap in the price action. If you want to be bearish, I wasn't anticipating SPY to drop a little bit further, as I mentioned in my video from yesterday. I advised you to keep an eye on things to see whether we would break out of this trend line, and thus far things are doing just that. In fact, we're going back to being bullish. An enormous reversal in this market. The QQ did decline. I was discussing the possibility that this monster could truly approach 442. In actuality, 443 was our bottom. It therefore narrowly missed my aim and is currently attempting a slight recovery. Observe resistance at 446 then. In the event that we overcome this, the support is at 446.8, 448, and 448, and 449. Excuse me, but you're going to be watching 445. Watch 444 below that and then 442 if we lose this. In general, we're attempting to bounce back at this point. In fact, if we break past 446.8, QQQQ may retest, seize liquidity above 445, and even continue higher. So keep an eye out and see whether we can overcome that obstacle. Even though the QQ broke out, it is currently trying to rebound, and equities like Apple are still displaying some weakness. It has been gradually decreasing. Observe 179 for resistance and 170 and 169 for help. All in all, we remain somewhat trapped in this range, so we'll have to wait and watch. We'll just wait and see whether this range tries to break past 172.5 because it's now trapped in this range. If not, we remain range-bound. Therefore, I believe that Apple is stuck in its range until a break. We haven't yet been able to receive such reprieve. I wonder why. We're still kind of stuck at these low levels for NVIDIA when NVIDIA wasn't looking too good. But keep an eye out to see if we can manage to keep this prior resistance from turning into support. That is hence precisely in this 925 area. We become bearish if we drop below 925. It is possible that we will drop all the way to 920. 908 is up next if we lose that. You want to see it hold 925 if you're bullish. Holding 925 might allow NVIDIA to attempt to come back up to roughly 940. So at this moment, I'm in the midst. The attempt is to hold 925. If we had lost 925, there was a chance that this would fall even lower. We still possess that. We are now attempting to maintain the assistance. Therefore, keep a close eye on whether we manage to bounce off 925 or lose it. We could recover if we manage to hold above this. I will hence be closely monitoring that. Well, there concludes this video, folks. This one should be pleasant, brief, sweet, and easy. The location of the market is really intriguing. Certain stocks appear poor, such as Aapl. With some encouraging news that broke this morning, Tesla's bullish rating of 320 has been reaffirmed. Tesla is attempting to recover a little bit. So after that significant decline, it might possibly attempt to surge back up. But to see if Tesla holds, keep an eye on our 20 EMA. Following steep declines, SPY and the QQQ are attempting to recover. They might fall a little bit farther. As I warned you, keep an eye out for an SPY test. Right now, SPY is bouncing off this crucial support. Thus, once again, we see buyers standing up for us. Thus, it will be interesting to observe where things go from here. Having said that, remember that many of SPY's puts are set to expire on Friday. This market is heavily manipulated in an effort to deceive retailers. Personally, I was thinking that Tesla may actually show up and drop yesterday based on the technicals, but things have changed since bullish news has been released, and it's outperforming those technical indications, guys. Thus far, Tesla remains optimistic. It may push further, but we'll have to wait and see what occurs next. Fine. As a result, it's sometimes hard to foresee what the news will say about Tesla, and fresh information may even contradict technicalities. So that's the situation for the time being. We'll see what Tesla attempts to sort of nail. It is attempting to shove. For that time being, it needs to lose the 20 EMA and then 178 in order to become bearish. So let's see how it turns out. However, it is currently attempting to surge higher. Thus, I'll anticipate that at market opening. Okay, gentlemen, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Pie out and have a wonderful day.